My name is Dee. I'm a compulsive overeater. I weigh and measure 3 meals off the gray sheet. I eat nothing in between, and I call them into my sponsor. And I like to do service, but this is always a little hard for me. So I appreciate being asked though. So to give you a background on my compulsive overeating, since I was a child and throughout my adulthood, I've struggled with my binging and also with depriving myself of food. When I came to Gray Sheet, I was pretty defeated. And I basically for years had tried all solutions from fad diets to seeking out the medical community to try to find an intervention that would help me, but that ultimately never lasted. And it resulted in me feeling more shame that I couldn't stop my eating. When I'm in the food, I am not present for myself. I am not present in my family's life or at gatherings. All I'm thinking about is how much can I eat before anyone is noticing, or going to make a comment that's going to make me feel worse about myself. And then there's this dialogue of, how much should I eat? Is this good for me? And it's this constant barrage of talk in my head that I can't escape. And it made me feel stuck, and it made me feel alone. And that is really why I showed up to Gray Sheet, because I definitely didn't like myself. I felt like I was always losing at my battle, and I couldn't understand when I would speak to other people and they said they were full. I never understood what full meant. My eyes never knew enough. So in the initial parts of my recovery and starting to attend meetings, I didn't quite understand what people meant when they said I'd feel better. My feelings were so intense. Before I got to Gray Sheet, I never thought of even acknowledging how I felt about things and really being present in the way I think. And I learned how to move through those feelings without the food in Gray Sheet. And putting the food down was just the beginning. Attending these meetings also helped me to see the changes that were going on with people and seeing how their recovery could inspire me on my journey. And I wanted what they had. And I was grateful for my willingness and a faith in something greater than myself. In coming to Gray Sheet, I am aware more of my feelings and getting to know myself on a more intimate level. I mean, this process is ongoing. I use tools, and the steps to stop and avoid my avoidance in how I feel about myself, about people, about circumstances. I'm learning to accept people for who they are, accept myself for who I am, and things that happen in life. If something doesn't feel right with me, I know that there are ways for me to deal with this now. I journal, I make phone calls, I seek out advice from my sponsor. And when I've made wrongs, I am aware that I need to take responsibility and make amends for things instead of avoiding that uncomfortableness of being wrong. Life happens, and we have to find ways to deal with what is coming at us. And Gray Sheet presents me with a set of tools to move around my life and move through those uncomfortable feelings instead of using food to cope with it. And I really feel that this is truly a gift to have that on a daily basis. This self-care that I never thought about is really my self-love. And it helps me to focus on my self-responsibility. so that in my recovery, I can move in my recovery. Another gift I've received is the deeper relationships I have with the people around me, and the being friends and family, in particular, my children. I allow them to be themselves and not try to control everything that they do, say, because, because I was always fearful for them. And I think that having that awareness that I don't have to control everything is really positive in our lives and in my life and in our relationship. It's given me such joy to have this new level of connection with them. And it's really priceless. And today I have a choice to be in a solution, which really feels so good. I didn't think it was possible for a very long time for me to feel such peace around my food, such peace around my life, and such awareness with what is going on with me. I came from a family in which it was almost, I needed to just be in the fold. I couldn't question things. I couldn't be independent in my thoughts. I couldn't be independent in my opinion. It made everybody very uncomfortable. And as life would have it, I was the extreme of that. I really was not as traditional in my parents' faith and as strict in that, and having just the opposite opinions of a lot of different things, whether it was a social context or anything. It was, if I spoke up, it was a very uncomfortable conversation. So I learned how to cope with that by not speaking and to not sharing. And that made it very unhealthy for me. And I chose food, although I feel that I was predispositioned for this, and it kind of just set me on that path to deal with the things that I felt uncomfortable about, the shame of not necessarily feeling like I belonged, and the sarcasm sometimes that I received for it because they didn't quite understand me. I think that knowing these things now, I don't think I would have known these things, rather, if I wasn't in Grey Sheet. I wouldn't have been able to see them. I wouldn't be able to be aware of what was going on with me from that point of view with my family, up until relationships in my adulthood with friends and partners of that sort. I think putting down my food, having faith in my program, having faith in my sponsor, having faith in my higher power that is greater than me, helps me to maneuver each day, helps me to make the right choice, helps me to be present and not just busy myself to avoid what's going on with me. So I'm probably falling short of my time, but I think that's what I have to say for today. And I thank you all for allowing me to speak.